Hello everyone, and welcome back. Today we're going to be going over one tip for every different mission type in Deep Rock Galactic. Now there is a caveat to this video as a whole, but we'll go into that more later. So for now, enjoy the video. So first and most simply, Kite mining. As many people have probably noticed, even if they've never taken conscious note of it, there's a lot more Kite in the last room of a Kite mining mission. This means you realistically can get away with skipping some of the more inconvenient veins or ones that just are too far out of your way to bother with getting. And while it's not exactly scientific, the set of numbers that I got from testing this in a 200 Kite mission, there was one vein of Kite in the tunnels, 2 veins in the first cave, 2 veins in the second cave, and 5 veins in the third and final cave. That means that there was as many veins of Kite in the final room as there was in the rest of the mission. I've heard people kick around the number 50% for how much of the Kite is in the last room of the mission. While I don't know if I believe that exactly, that is what my single mission run testing did reflect, so maybe it is true. But regardless, there's a extreme outlier of Kite in the final room of a mining mission. Next up, eggs. The most important thing to know about eggs is there's a different amount of swarms based upon how many eggs you have to get. If there's 4 eggs, there's 1 swarm. If there's 6 eggs, there's 2 swarms, and if there's 8 eggs, there's 3 swarms. With this knowledge chucked into your cap, you can realistically know what the chances of getting a swarm on your next egg pull are just with some simple math. Now I'm not going to say you should know it down to the exact percent based upon how many are pulled and how many swarms are left, but if you've pulled 5 eggs in an 8 egg mission and haven't gotten a single swarm, you know that the remaining 3 eggs are. That's an extreme example, of course, but you can easily tell when it's going to be 50%. Such as you only have 2 eggs left on a 4 egg and you don't have your swarm yet. In that case, obviously it's a 50% chance. Salvage. The footage doesn't do much justice to this, but the zone progression in the salvage missions, both the fuel cells and the uplink, scale with how many players are in the zone alive. So whatever you do, under any circumstances, do your absolute best to stay in the zone. Unless you're confident that you can get out of the zone, gain a practical advantage, and get back in less than 10 seconds, it's better just to stay in the zone and have your gunner throw a shield to ward off whatever enemy is attacking you like an oppressor. Point extraction. Here's a common myth. Point extraction spawns more enemies whenever you deposit a quarks. This isn't true. Point extraction progressively spawns more and more enemies as time goes on. So it may seem like as you're putting more quarks in, more enemies are spawning, but in reality, you've spent time putting those quarks in, and that's why more are spawning. Also, point extractions are basically unplayable past the 20-minute mark on Hazard 5. So try to get out of there around 15 at the absolute latest. Elimination. One of the best and most reliable fighting areas for killing a dreadnought is the spawn room in Elimination. So it's always in your best interest to just head out to one of the cocoons, pop it, and let it dig its way back to the spawn room. I'd say you only have about a 30 to 40% chance of having a better room to fight the dread in than the spawn room. The spawn room is always extremely flat, has very few holes, and is usually clear of hostile entities. So for that reason, I almost always fight at least one dreadnought in the spawn room. However, if it's a hive guard, it can mangle the floor pretty badly, and your NG might have to patch it up, or you can just move on and find another nice cave to fight in. Escort. Here's a good one. So there's a lot of tech going on with Escort, but the single most important piece of information is that Doretta is completely invincible for 4 seconds after being healed to 100%, with no exceptions. Every increment that you repair is 12%. So if Doretta is at or around 89%, you know that you can repair her to full in one single go. If you see that a big hit is coming in, like a bulk detonator for example, it might be in your best interest to intentionally damage Doretta down to 99 or 98% and instantly heal her back to full so she's invincible. Obviously a bulk detonator will instantly destroy a plate or the core of Doretta if it does go off in radius of her, but with this trick it's actually possible to save it. Refinery. This is more of a general observational one, but I know a lot of people don't exactly have this information tucked in their mind at all times while playing Refinery. While in the setup phase and looking for the pump jacks, you should always pay attention for how many pump jacks are in the main room. I'd say about 90 to 95% of the time there will always be 2 pump jacks in this main room, and there'll be 1 in a side cave. Now this side cave can sometimes be hard to find, so after you've made a lap around the main room, you want to check out the terrain scanner and look for any unexplored caves leading off of the main. I'd say about 9 times out of 10, this is where the third pump jack is going to be. So always keep this in the back of your mind. If you can't find a pump jack, immediately look for side caves. Don't look in the other side of the same room. Industrial Sabotage. Do not play Industrial Sabotage. I kid. But seriously though, there's not a whole lot of reason to be playing Industrial Sabotage in the first place, so I can't say I can think of a lot of really extremely good techniques. But since Industrial Sabotage is pretty darn difficult compared to the other missions, here's a pretty relevant one. Whenever Haxi breaks, it might not be immediately apparent, but enemies have stopped spawning. There might be some residual spawns happening, but for the large part, the actual pressure that's being spawned on you is no longer happening. So definitely, if your team is getting pushed down into a corner and half your team is down or you need a resupply, don't restart Haxi immediately. It might seem like the bugs are still spawning and it's urgent and that you need to keep it going. And yes, there are still some spawns, but you can immediately tell once you start paying attention to it that once Haxi is broken, the spawn rate drastically drops off. So if your team is getting crushed, don't restart Haxi. Now, as I said at the beginning of this video, there is a caveat to all of this. You might be asking, well, why only one tip for every mission type? I'm sure there's plenty more tips, and I thought of a couple while watching this video. You might see where I'm going with this now. As I said, I'm sure a lot of people thought of tips that they would give to other players for these mission types, and were probably pretty annoyed that that's not the one that I went with. So, in the comment section down below, leave as many or as few gameplay tips as you like for any amount of the mission types that you like. And then, after a little bit of time, I'll congregate them into a longer, more comprehensive video. That and I still have mission guides to finish, so I might be able to integrate those tips there as well. You are being content farmed. Please do not resist. But that's all I have for you today. As always, thank you for watching. If you'd like to join, become a YouTube member, get your name in the credits of every video, and some other perks, you can check out the join button down below. If you'd like to catch me live, I stream over on Twitch. If you'd like to talk to me or give me tips about specific missions, you can find me in my community over on Discord. And as always, thank you for watching, and have a nice day.